Okay, the motion before the House is this House would believe in God. Are there any speakers for the proposition who would like to open their case?
I'd like to start by opening this case by actually coming at this from quite an interesting angle. I'm going to address the implications of us not believing in God and what that would do to society, morality and community more than anything else. God provides a sense of community which, despite what those people on that side may say, is unequalled by any other form of atheism. Nothing can match the community. Also, from a moral perspective, God provides the Bible and other religious texts have provided a moral guide which still stands today and is still incredibly strong and important despite some major flaws which they may come up with. The overlying perspective is unmatched by any atheist equivalent, like A.C. Grayson's The Good Book.
Railing, or whatever. Mr. Chillingworth, would you like to open the case for the opposition?
I'd like to point out how outrageous it is for someone to say that God gives us community. God doesn't give us community, man gives us community. It's our sense of brotherhood that gives us community. In the same sense as our evolutionary code about how we should live and how we should form these communities and what makes a successful community, as in not killing each other, not committing adultery, not stealing from each other. That is what gives us morality. It's not some sort of book that says like-minded things about how we have to believe in God and that should be one as on the same level as not murdering people. That is not in the same way, nor to put these things in such black and white context as the Bible does, nor to present frankly abhorrent things. For example, that we should condone slavery and that we should condone racism, that we should slaughter things, we should slaughter things just because the God tells us, that we should put our own sons up for the purpose of showing our faith to God, and that we should kill our own sons just because God told us to. And frankly, this doesn't come from any kind of sound moral code. It takes away from our moral code, and it takes away the glory of what it is to be human by saying it comes from some sort of fictional man up in the sky.
A small point in relation to what Mr. Chillingworth said, in citing some of the Bible's more archaic terms and archaic teachings. I would in fact argue that it's somewhat anachronistic to look back on certain applications, such as that of slavery in the Bible, and rather think that even if we are to believe in such texts, it's completely possible to disregard which parts of this text have become outdated and aged, and simply taking on the more positive morals that we can take on and can understand which are positive, and simply ignore which ones are negative.
I'd just like to say that maybe Harmesh would not take on the archaic things that it says in the Bible, but lots of people do, like Muslim extremists take on archaic things in the Quran.
I'm maybe to ask the opposition whether they really believe what they're saying, because basically what they're saying is that people who read the Bible essentially go and sort of condone slavery and sort of become slave traders, kill people. And I ask you, do you really believe that? How many of the people in the world who are slave traders, how many of them do you reckon are devout Christians? I would say that as a percentage, it's probably insignificant. I reckon that the good that is done through the morality promoted through God and religion, it far outweighs the detriment that it does. And I completely refute the point that the people in this world who are doing the bad acts are the religious ones because they're getting it promoted by these religious texts.
Well, surely the fact that people who believe in a deity, such as the Christian deity, are perfectly moral people, which obviously does happen a lot of the time, sure, it shows that their morality is completely independent of what they read in their Bible. They make their own morality and attribute it to the book which they read, whereas what happens is they develop their own morality first, and then read the book and say this is where it comes from. They are doing it backwards.
Mr. Price, I would argue that while it is possible that humans' moral ideas possibly become independently from a holy book, they probably do depend a lot on their belief in God, because without God we have no sense of judgment of each other, and without that we lose our sense of morality in a large way, because then we don't really have a way of judging what's right or wrong.
There are many atheist countries in the world, many secular countries. They go on just fine, they can judge each other perfectly. Our sense of altruism does not come from religion, it comes from evolution, through natural selection. And I'd like to ask the proposition of actually, instead of relying on arguments, i.e. it would be nice if God exists because this, I'd ask if they actually have any evidence for its existence.
Thank you, that was a nice point to end on. This was an interesting debate. I'm sure it will continue to rage throughout the history of man and will continue to go on.